Why is the Philippines the best country for foreign investment in Southeast Asia? Southeast Asia is composed of 11 countries, namely Brunei, Cambodia, Indonesia, Laos, Malaysia, Myanmar, the Philippines, Singapore, Thailand, Timor-Leste, and Vietnam. Many of these countries have seen growing interest from alien or foreign enterprises in the past few decades, as they are fast becoming hotspots for foreign investment. The Philippines, in particular, dubbed the Pearl of the Orient because of its rich natural resources, biodiversity, and strategic location in the heart of Southeast Asia and the Pacific, is fast becoming the best country in Southeast Asia for foreign investment today. This emerging economic hotspot boasts a bullish market that can bounce back fast, even from a crisis like the pandemic. With a young, highly skilled and English-speaking workforce and an unending list of opportunities, the Philippines sparkles like a diamond in the rough. On this episode, we'll be discussing how the Philippines has come to achieve this status, and in doing so, tell you why you should consider investing in the Philippines. Firstly, the Philippines has a young and dynamic workforce. Located in the heart of Southeast Asia, with an archipelago of over 7,600 islands, the Philippines has a young and large population of approximately 119 million people, a population growth of 1.5% annually, and the median age in the Philippines is 25. According to the preliminary results of the April 2023 Labor Force Survey report of the Philippine Statistics Authority, 6 out of 10 Filipinos aged 15 years and older are in the labor force. This represents 50.3 million of the 77.3 million Filipinos of working age. More so, Filipino workers are known to be competent, reliable, resilient, hard-working, creative, and professional. These qualities and more make them well-liked by their employers. Filipino employees are known to be very proficient in the English language. In 2021, the Philippines ranked second in Asia and 18th in the world by the English Proficiency Index, giving her an edge over other Southeast Asian countries. Due to this high proficiency in the English language, the country has seen its rise as a top world destination for business process outsourcing services, ranking 6th in the top 50 digital nations in 2020. And as such, the service industry contributes a startling 62% of the country's GDP. To sweeten the pot even further, the country's literacy rate is at 94.6%. Hence, every year, there are at least 350,000 more college graduates enriching the professional pool, with graduates in business administration, education science, teaching training, engineering, and technology, which all happen to be the preferred areas of studies among graduates in the Philippines. We've therefore established that there is no lack of skilled labor. As to how much employees are paid, the minimum wage in the Philippines is relatively cheap at $177 to $300 monthly. Secondly, the Philippine economy is currently the fastest growing economy in Southeast Asia and the second fastest in Asia, the first being India, with solid promising growth projections in the next several years. The Philippines registered an all-time low in GDP during the pandemic in 2020. However, in the first quarter of 2021, the GDP bounced back by an astonishing 8.1%, far surpassing expected values. The percentage increase of the GDP had since declined, but has seen steady increase since the third quarter of 2023. The GDP is expected to continue increasing by a 6% value in 2024 due to stronger public investment and improving exports and domestic demand amid moderating inflation. In addition, the ongoing rebound in tourism and sustained remittance inflows will provide additional support to the services sector and household spending. Furthermore, the foreign direct investment in Philippines increased by $686 million in March of 2024. To better put this into perspective, It is worth noting that increase in foreign direct investment in Philippines averaged $473.70 million from 2005 until 2024. The Philippines equally has a business-friendly economy in that the Philippines has recently adopted an open economy that allows 100% foreign ownership in some business sectors, including infrastructure such as telecoms, airports, rail and renewable energy projects, through the amendment of the Public Services Act. This has been a game-changer, seeing as just a few decades ago, certain sectors in the Philippines had to have a majority local owner, making it difficult for external firms to enter the market. A myriad of government corporations are also getting privatized, and the major industries such as telecommunications, energy, banking, and shipping have been deregulated. This gives foreign investors more freedom to set up operations in the country. Other policy amendments have equally made investing in the Philippines that much more attractive. For example, the Retail Trade Liberalization Act of 2000 reduces the minimum paid-up capital requirements for foreign retail enterprises and removes the requirement for a certificate of pre-qualification, and as such promotes foreign investment in the retail sector. The Foreign Investment Act of 1991 allows foreign investors to invest up to 100% equity in domestic market enterprises, but also sets certain restrictions. We've barely scratched the surface. There's more. Incentive packages such as the 5 to 10% corporate income tax cut for specific businesses, materials, and equipment. There is also the possible 100% deduction on research and development expenses under the Corporate Recovery and Tax Incentives for Enterprises Law, or simply the CREATE Act, which incentivizes businesses to innovate and create new products, all make investing in the Philippines almost irresistible. Also, due to its convenient location at the heart of Asia and the Pacific, and with a flight time of 4 hours or less to get to many major capitals in the world, the Philippines becomes the most strategic location for firms who want to access the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, ASEAN, free trade market of more than 600 million people, or the major economies of East Asia, namely China, Japan, and Korea. The country is also placed at the crossroads of many international shipping and airlines, making it a great platform for integrating global supply chains of businesses. As an added bonus, the Philippines has multiple trade agreements with other nations, granting free trade in some cases, and minimal or duty-free access on exports. Some of these trade agreements include, through the ASEAN Economic Community, the ASEAN Free Trade Agreements with Australia and New Zealand, China, Japan, India, South Korea, and Hong Kong. The Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, the Philippine-Japan Economic Partnership Agreement, the European Free Trade Association between non-EU countries and the Philippines, the EU-Philippine Free Trade Association, and the Generalized Scheme of Preferences with the EU and the US. The Philippines has a growing middle class and active consumers. As a matter of fact, Philippines has the second largest consumer market in the ASEAN. A country with a strong middle class has a reliable consumer base that could drive further economic consumption and thus increase business activities and employment. The middle class also pays taxes on at least 30% of its income. And since the middle class makes up approximately 44% of the population, we can conclude that almost half of the population in the Philippines has high purchasing power that can support increasing business activities and support government projects via taxes. The consumer market is further boosted by remittances from overseas Filipino workers. The estimated number of overseas Filipino workers in 2024 is 2.16 million, almost half the population of Finland, and in 2023, the overseas Filipino workers' cash remittances amounted to a whopping $33.5 billion. On top of a booming economy and quality human capital, the Philippines also offers relatively low startup costs for businesses. Human labor is relatively cheap because the cost of living in the Philippines is also relatively lower than in most Western countries. Telecommunications, electricity, and real estate costs are also half of what companies would need to pay if they were in some Western countries. For this reason, many foreign companies have set up their back offices and administrative services in the Philippines. Additionally, the government is aggressive in putting up new infrastructure to support the growing economy. Beginning from the administration of the previous president of the Philippines, Rodrigo Duterte, the government increased infrastructure spending to about 5% of the country's overall GDP. That is twice the budget in the administrations that came before him. He called this intense focus on infrastructure is the Build, Build, Build (BBB) program. Many of the country's development partners, such as the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund, supported the BBB program through loans and grants, and these provided 6.5 million jobs since 2016. The new president, Ferdinand Marcos Jr., has expressed support for continuing the initiatives in the BBB program and is determined to continue accelerating spending for infrastructure. The bridges and roads, among other projects in the BBB program, are expected to lessen congestion and inefficiency in the country's operations and thus spur further economic development. Next, the Philippines is immensely rich in natural resources. Being one of the largest archipelagos in the world, the Philippines is filled with rich natural resources from both land and sea. It is among the top 10 gold producers in the world and the #1 copper producer in Southeast Asia, having more than 7,600 islands. It is home to thousands of marine species and hundreds of land animals that can only be found in Philippine forests. It also prides itself on many beautiful beaches, falls, and mountains, offering a variety of tourism and relaxation activities for vacationers. Its tourism potential, however, remains unmaximized, providing ample opportunity for further investment in the field. Last but by no means the least, the Philippines' real estate market is booming. Driven by the increasing middle class, overseas Filipino workers' remittances, and business process outsourcing companies, the Philippine real estate market is getting bigger and is expected to continue growing in the years to come. Filipino tastes for properties are also changing and has brought about the trend of micro-cities and co-working spaces. Real estate developers are catching up with new technologies such as virtual showrooms and environmentally considerate infrastructures. Although foreigners cannot own Filipino land, they can own properties, such as a house or a condo, on those lands which they can utilize or lease out. In conclusion, on a previous episode, we already told you how Elon Musk has hopped on this moving train through SpaceX subsidiary Starlink, which plans to put up a Philippine-registered company offering satellite internet services that will provide broadband connectivity to remote areas. We understand that you're probably not the richest man on Earth at the moment, but you should really consider making an investment in the Philippines, for as they say, follow who know road.